By the end of this year, Goldman Sachs estimates that AI will replace the equivalent of 25 million full-time jobs. Not in a decade, not eventually, this year. And most of those people have no idea it's coming. In the next 10 minutes, you will learn the 10 most alarming facts about AI and the global job market, backed by studies from Goldman Sachs, MIT, Harvard, and the World Economic Forum. You'll find out which jobs face an 80% chance of disappearing, why the most educated workers are actually the most at risk, and at number 1, the fact that even the CEOs running these AI systems quietly admit is keeping them up at night. Let's start at number 10. The college degree trap. The workers most exposed to AI disruption are not the ones without a degree. They are the ones who have one. A report from the International Monetary Fund found that in advanced economies, 60% of all jobs are exposed to AI automation. But when researchers looked specifically at white-collar knowledge work, the jobs that required a college degree to get, that number shot up to nearly 71% in countries like Switzerland and South Korea. The logic is brutal. AI is exceptionally good at codified knowledge, the kind you learn from textbooks, the kind universities have been teaching for decades. The more your job looks like a textbook, the more replaceable it is. But that's just where it starts. Number 9 reveals exactly which industry is already feeling the first shockwave: Wall Street's quiet bloodbath. Wall Street banks have quietly planned to eliminate 200,000 jobs over the next 3 to 5 years. Not through recessions, not through market crashes, through AI. And 54% of all banking jobs have been identified as having high potential for full automation. The entry-level analysts, the compliance teams, the back-office operations that thousands of graduates competed to get into, systematically replaced. The same banks are reporting record profits. Number 8 is where it gets personal, because this one is already happening to people who thought they were completely safe. Young workers frozen out in AI-exposed sectors. Young workers under 25 are not being laid off. They are simply not being hired. Stanford University researchers found that the recent employment decline in AI-exposed industries falls almost entirely on workers under the age of 25. The job market for new graduates is not just difficult, it is structurally broken. In the first 6 months of 2025 alone, nearly 78,000 tech jobs were directly tied to AI-driven cuts. That is hundreds of jobs every single day. Think about that. You spend 4 years and tens of thousands of dollars on a degree, and by the time you graduate, the entry rung of the ladder has been removed. Number 7 reveals the profession that almost nobody expects to be on this list. Now, before we get to the top 7, there is something that most coverage of this topic completely misses. AI is not just automating jobs, it is restructuring the very concept of work. A Harvard Business School study published in March 2026 found that generative AI is not uniformly erasing white-collar work, it is reshaping it, augmenting experienced workers while quietly eliminating the need for the junior positions that used to feed into them. The career ladder is not being destroyed at the top, it is being removed from the bottom, and the people who were supposed to climb it have nowhere to start. Which makes what comes next even harder to hear. Number 7, the legal profession's 80% problem. Paralegals face an 80% risk of automation by this year. Legal researchers face a 65% risk by next year. Law was supposed to be one of the safe professions. Complex, nuanced, human. But AI systems can now review contracts, perform case research, draft legal documents, and flag compliance issues faster and cheaper than any junior associate. One AI tool now used by major law firms can analyze thousands of documents in minutes, a task that used to take a team of humans weeks.
Number 6 shifts from professions to psychology, specifically what this is doing to the human mind. The anxiety gap. Workers of color are significantly more anxious about AI job displacement than white workers, and the data suggests their concern is justified. A CNBC survey found that 32% of black workers, 35% of Hispanic workers, and 38% of Asian workers worry that AI will soon make their jobs obsolete. Compare that to just 19% of white workers. This is not irrational fear. Research shows shows that AI is disproportionately replacing roles in customer service, data processing, and administrative work, sectors where minority workers are heavily concentrated. Technology that promises efficiency is quietly widening an inequality gap that was already enormous. Number 5 reveals why companies are firing people, even when the AI is not actually ready yet. Fired for potential, not performance. Most AI-related layoffs are not happening because AI has already replaced those workers. They are happening because companies believe it will. A Harvard Business Review survey of over 1,000 global executives in December 2025 found that AI job cuts are almost entirely in anticipation of AI's impact, not its current performance. CEOs from Ford, Amazon, Salesforce, and JP Morgan have publicly stated that large numbers of white-collar jobs at their companies will soon disappear. People are losing their livelihoods based on projections, based on potential, based on what AI might do, not what it has done. Number 4, and this one involves a number so large it barely feels real. 270 million jobs by 2030. By 2030, just 4 years from now, generative AI could replace the equivalent of 270 million full-time jobs worldwide. That is the Goldman Sachs projection. The World Economic Forum puts the number at 85 million by 2026 alone. The IMF says 40% of all jobs worldwide are exposed to some degree of AI automation right now. For context, the entire workforce of the United States is approximately 160 million people. Goldman Sachs is describing a displacement larger than the entire American economy, twice over. Number 3, the fact that should terrify every middle manager watching this. Middle management is next. By the end of 2026, 20% of organizations will use AI to flatten their corporate hierarchy, eliminating over 50% of current middle management positions. Middle management, the layer of the workforce that survived every previous wave of automation, is now directly in the crosshairs. AI agents can now coordinate teams, track performance, allocate resources, and generate reports. Everything a mid-level manager does, for a fraction of the cost. The corporate ladder is not just missing its bottom rungs anymore. It is being disassembled from the middle, too. Number 2, and this one is about something the public actually supports, which makes it far more dangerous. The public is okay with it. A Harvard Business School study found that the American public supports automating roughly 30% of jobs based on current AI capabilities. When researchers asked 2,357 people about 940 occupations, most people were comfortable letting AI take over a huge range of jobs. When they imagined a more advanced future AI, support for automation jumped even higher. Only a handful of professions were considered off-limits: clergy, childcare, artists, funeral directors. The system does not need to force this change on a reluctant public. The public is willing to let it happen, often without understanding the full consequences. Which brings us to number 1, the fact that changes how you understand everything else on this list. The number nobody talks about. Only 23% of workers today are in jobs considered least likely to be replaced by AI. Read that again. Only 23%. That means 77% of the global workforce, billions of people, are in jobs where AI poses a meaningful, measurable threat. Not someday, now. The question is not whether this will affect you. The data says it almost certainly will. The only question is when, and whether you will be ready. These are not scare tactics. These are the findings of Goldman Sachs, the IMF, Harvard, Stanford, and the World Economic Forum. The institutions that built the modern economy are telling us, clearly, that it is being rebuilt around us. If this changed how you see the next 5 years of your career, share it with someone who needs to see it too. And in the next video, let's see the 10 jobs AI cannot replace. You might be surprised by what made the list.